Hello everyone, in this video we are going to learn about the dev tools, which are nothing but the development tools, or we can also call it as developer tools. In shorthand, we simply call it as dev tools. In this video we are going to learn about the dev tools, the usage of the Chrome dev tools, and we will also take a look over the priorities of the selectors. And in the previous video we have learned the rules and some priorities of the selectors, right? In this video we're gonna apply those rules to our CSS file and we will see the result in our web page. Basically these developer tools are nothing but a set of web developer tools which are built directly into the Google Chrome browser. These are the tools which are made for the developers to create, test and debugging of the software. Okay, these are the developer tools which are made for the developer to test and debugging of the software. Okay, these are the general tools that are directly provided within our browsers. Okay, let me proceed further into the topic. Okay, firstly I am opening Google Chrome. Okay, this is the general interface of the Google Chrome. I am searching for CSS basics. Okay, this is the general web page that have been created by the MDN web docs. Okay, this general page will be created by the MDN web docs. For example, if you need to inspect the entire thing, okay, for this entire website you need to check the developer tools and other things will be done to create this web page. For that we have a way to check the developer tools of this entire web page. That means we can check those tools by clicking right click at the any page, at the any space of this web page, and go to the inspect keyword which will be provided at the last of this box, and I am clicking this inspect keyword, and you will be appeared with some new dialog box. That means it will represent the entire developer tools of this web page. Okay, it gives the entire developer tools of this web page. Okay, these are the general developer tools that are gonna apply to this web page to give a beautiful look like this. Okay, generally if you observe, this entire box is about the HTML content. Okay, this entire thing is about the HTML file of this web page, and this thing contains the CSS file. That means we are gonna give some styles to our web page by using these entire thing. Okay, if you give an expand over here, you can see different styles will be applied to this entire thing. Okay, different elements will be applied to create this entire thing. Okay, this is the general thing that we can inspect directly the development tools of a particular web page. Okay, these are all the tools that gonna helpful to you to testing or the debugging of our software. Okay, these are directly integrated for every Google Chrome browser. Okay, this is the general thing of the developer tools. We may also inspect this same thing in our own web page also. Let me take you to that thing also. Okay, I am minimizing it and I am opening our web page. Okay, this is the web page that we together created till the previous video, right? This is the entire thing that we made till the previous video. For example, if I want to inspect this entire thing that we created by our own, I am giving a right click and I am going to inspect. Okay, this is the general thing that we can go to our developer tools. But there is another shortcut, like I am giving a Ctrl plus Shift plus I in my keyboard. Okay, if I give Ctrl plus Shift plus I, we can directly land on these developer tools by using a simple shortcut. Rather than using the right click and inspect, we can have the shortcut Ctrl plus Shift plus I to display the developer tools of a particular web page. Okay, these are the general developer tools that we created. Okay, I am minimizing this to extent. This is the HTML element that we created for our development tools. Okay, this is the HTML thing. If I expand this head element, we may have look over the entire developing things. Okay, this is the header, this is the navigation. Okay, these are the things that we made in our Visual Studio Code Editor. Okay, Visual Studio Code Editor, these are all the things done by the Visual Studio Code Editor. For suppose I want to make changes for my website for testing. Okay, for a particular father of hoops, you may also inspect directly by selecting it and go for inspection. Okay, I am selecting it from here, and if I go for inspect, okay, you will directly land on that particular element developer tools, right? These are all the things that done for this particular header element, right? HT element. If I give changes for this H element with 50 pixels of size, Okay, if you observe carefully here, the changes will be directly happen to the page. Okay, this is how we can test the web page directly by using the developer tools of our web page by inspecting the page. Okay, you may also change the color of the thing to, like, I am giving black color. Okay, this is the general thing that we can done. Okay, if you observe carefully here, this is the by default values of the h2 element, right? For this h2 element, there are some by default values. These are the by default values. These things are all the by default values for the element h2. Okay, that means if you are not given with any of these properties, this by default value will be applied to this h2 header element. If you observe carefully here, the font size with 1.5 centimeter is the by default value of the h2 element, right? For that h2 element, it will be overridden by using 50 pixels, right? Here we made changes for the font size with 50 pixels, right? So that means we are overriding the defaulted font size with 1.5 centimeter with a 50 pixel font size, right? For example, if I unmark this thing, it will be applied to the 1.5 centimeter. That means it is not be overridden, because the default value of the h2 element with a font size 1.5 centimeter, it will be directly applied with 1.5 centimeter. If I give a tick mark over it, it will be striked off with a horizontal line, because we are overriding that font size with a new property value of 50 pixels. Okay, this is the general thing that we have to learn in this video. And if you observe carefully, these are all the default values of the h2 element, and these are all the represented within the user agent style sheet. Okay, within this user agent style sheet, we can observe the default values of a particular element. Okay, these are the general things about the development tools. And also, if you give a refresh here, the things will be set right to the initial page, because these are all the for testing and debugging. Okay, these are all the not the major changes that will be applied directly to our web page. These things are used for only the testing purpose. Okay, if I give a refresh, the things will be set right to the original state, right? Which will be made by the original developer. Okay, this is the uses of the developer tools. And now I will proceed further into my topic, and we will take a look over the priorities of the selectors practically in our Visual Studio Code Editor now. Okay, I am opening my Visual Studio Code Editor file now. Okay, this is the general thing that we made till previous video. Okay, for example, in the HTML file, I want to create one paragraph for testing all the selectors. Okay, for example, I am using that in footer. Okay, for just now I am including this entire thing in a comment. Okay, I am including one p element. Within the p element, this is a paragraph for testing priorities of selectors. Okay, I have given some p element. Within the p element, I have given some general sentence. In the p element, if I include all the attributes of id and the class, I am including id attribute here, which is have a reference name of id selector, and I am also including class attribute over here. For this class attribute, I will create two reference names for making two class selectors. Okay, and the first one is class selector, the second one is example2 ex2. Okay, these are all the two things that I have given to the class attribute to create two class selectors. Okay, if you give any space between the two words within the one attribute, that refers to we have created two references for this single attribute. Okay, for this class attribute, we have created two reference names. One is class selector and another one is ex2. Okay, that means we can create two class selectors in our CSS files. Okay, for this one, we will create three selectors, like four selectors. Okay, one is for direct p element selector, and second one is for id selector, third one is for class selector, okay, and fourth one is for ex2. Okay, these are all the things that we will create in the CSS file. Okay, and for creating p element, okay, for creating pre element selector, I will use descendant selector, because to avoid the changes for every other p tag, I will use descendant selector with footer. By using footer, I will use some descendant selector here. Okay, descendant element selector. For example, I am considering my descendant selector like footer. With P, I am giving my color as red here and font size as 50 pixels for your simplicity of visualing. And I am creating one ID selector with using hash symbol ID selector. For this ID selector, I am giving my color as blue and font size as 60 pixels. And I am giving class selector with dot. Okay, for this class selector, I am including my same properties like color and the font size. Like if now I am giving green, I am giving my font size as 20 pixels. I am creating another class selector, like we have given ex2 class selector, right? For that one also I am creating one color property with aqua, and I am including font style, font size as 10 pixels. Okay, this is the entire thing that we created just now. For every selector I have created one. For every attribute I have created 3 select. Here I have created 3 selectors. For this is an descendant element selector, this is an ID selector, this is an class selector, and we have created 2 references here. For creating 2 class selectors, I have also included another class selector here also, ex2. Okay, if you take a look at our web page, I am removing the debugging here. Okay, this is the thing that we have to observe carefully. And if I go at down, okay, for just now I am removing all this sentence into an comments because I want to make sure that you will observe carefully the every selector changes. Okay, for each and every selector we have to observe the changes carefully. For that sake, as for now I am including this entire thing into one comment. Okay, to make a multiple line comment without including the opening and closing of the comments at the first and the starting of the content, we can select the entire thing at once, and we will use some shortcut like control plus forward slash. Okay, if you use control and forward slash, you can add and remove comment for the single thing. Okay, for this entire thing we can directly use control and slash for making the comment rather than using slash and asterisk, and here we can use asterisk and slash. Rather than using this entire elements like that, we can directly use control plus slash. Okay, for removing and adding of commands for the big content. Okay, at first I am using this descendant element selector. Okay, I am giving a refresh. See here, this is a testing paragraph that we have created for the priorities of selectors. Okay, this is a paragraph for testing priorities of the selectors. Okay, in this we have given red color. Okay, color is red and font size is 50 pixels. Okay, it will be applied to that sentence. Okay, for this sentence we have given elements descendant selector, right, for this footer and P. Okay, that will be applied with given property values. If I remove this one and considering this into comment, and I am adding the comment here. Okay, if I add an ID selector, okay, let me see the change. It will be applied successfully. Okay, this is a paragraph which will be contained with blue color and the 60 pixels. Okay, As for now, I am considering this entire thing into one paragraph, and I am removing this from here, including one sentence here. If I give a refresh, okay, sorry, I think I have to close it here. Okay, if I give a refresh, the things will be changed to the green color that we are given the properties here. Color property is green and font size property is 20 pixels. Okay, and if I give this entire thing in a comment and I am including this thing in our execution, okay, I am giving a refresh. Okay, sorry. If I give a refresh, see the change here. We can observe the change with aqua color, which will, and the size will be decreased to 10 pixels. Okay, which is given to this ex2 reference class at class selector. Okay, these are the changes that can be observed for each and every selectors. Okay, if I given for entire thing, I am removing the comments from here. I am removing the entire comments. Okay, I am removing the entire commands, and if I given the entire things at the time, okay, we have applied these all selectors at the time, and we have already discussed that all of them will apply to the element, but we have to consider the priorities of the selector if there is any occurrence of the common property in between us. But here we are giving common property for every selector, right? For every selector we are giving the common property with the different values, but we have to observe that which one of them will apply to our general element. If I give a refresh, see here the thing will be turned to blue color, and if you observe here we are giving blue color to the id selector, so that within these selectors the values of the properties will be applied from the id selector, because as we have already discussed that in the theory session, id selector has the highest priority rather than class selector and the element selector, right? In this way we can observe the changes in our CSS file, which will taking the highest priority in a selector, id selector taking the highest priority here. For example, if you can inspect here, I am taking this inspection. Okay, when I am going to inspect, if you observe the carefully, all the selectors will be applied to that text. Okay, all the selectors will be applied to that text. Okay, but the thing here is, as the id selector has the highest priority rather than all the selectors, the property values that will be declared within remaining selectors will be overridden by this id selector. Okay, as this id selector have the highest priority, the property values which are given in the another all selectors will be overridden. See here, if you see the changes here, it will be striken off. Okay, those are all will be striken off. Okay, all the property values in the other remaining selectors will be striken off and overridden by the id selector. Okay, this id selector will override all remaining class selectors and the element selectors. Okay, this is the way we can see the priorities of the selectors. Okay, if you think about the important declaration over here, okay, I am giving important declaration here. Important. Okay, this is also important. I am giving exclamatory mark with an important keyword. Okay, if I give a save, I am refreshing is, see the observation carefully. The thing will be turned to red, which will take the descendant element selector. Okay, which will take the properties of the descendant selector element, because as we have already discussed that before the id selector we have the highest priority for the important declaration, right? The thing here is, if you give the important declaration even for the least preference selector, it will be considered as the highest preference selector, right? Here we are applying into all selectors here, but the thing over here is, even though the footer p element has the least preference within the all these selectors, it will be considered as the highest preference selector, because we are declaring the important declaration here, right? This is the use of this important. If you declare this important segment in any of the selector, it will be considered as the first priority selector. Okay, make a note of it. And if you observe the inspection carefully, see here the inspection will be turned to the footer p element, because the id selector will be overridden by using this important declaration. Yes, we are including this important declaration for the footer p element selector. For that descendant element selector, we are including this important. So that important declaration will be overrides the id selector also. Okay, because important declaration has the first priority within the all selectors. Okay, I am taking this off. And if you might have the question that about the universal selector, right? If I include universal selector like by using asterisk, I am including my universal selector color as pink. Okay, I am using this color. If you observe carefully here, I am giving a refresh. See, the entire thing will be turned to the pink color, because we have already discussed that by using universal selector we can make changes for the entire web page. Okay, for this entire web page we can make the changes by using this universal selector, but this universal selector has the least preference. That means it takes the least priority within the all selectors. Okay, because the reason behind is, you might observe that here there are some of the content which will not be turned to the pink color. See, if you observe carefully, some content will not be turned to the pink color, because the thing here is, as we have already discussed, that the last code will be applied to our page, right? The last code will be applied to our files, right? We have already have a rule that the last priority code, that means the code which will be written in the last of our file, will be applied to that page. For example, if you take a look over this object oriented programming concepts, for this is an h1, right? For this h1 element, here we have overridden that color, pink color with blue color, right? For this pink color, we have overridden the color with blue color within the h1. Even though it is applied for entire body of the element, entire page, even though this universal selector applied for entire page, if we can easily override that element in the next upcoming lines of code, okay, by using this h1 selector. In that way, we can consider that universal selector as the least priority selector. As for now, I have not made the use of it. Okay, I am removing it. These are the things that you need to keep in mind before using the selectors. We have a priorities of the selectors. Okay, we have to consider all the rules and the priorities of the selector before writing a CSS file. Okay, these are the general things that you need to keep in mind. I think we have learned a lot of things in this video, and we will catch up in the next video. Thank you.